It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to episode 17 of the DFC podcast. I'm Audio Reborn. Today, we got the band back together. We got Krakenfob and we got No Face. What's up, guys? How you been?
Living the dream, man.
Doing pretty well.
Awesome. So, it's been a couple weeks for me and Kraken, 1 week for No Face. So, what have you guys been up to? What have you been playing? What's been going on?
Well, I have not played Destiny at all. But I think last time I did talk about Subnautica a little bit. I freaking played that game into the ground. I played like 60 hours of it, which
a little bit. Yeah, you talk about this game a lot.
Okay, yeah, but it was good. I beat it, and actually kept playing even though there was no goal, just because it was so fun. I'm not going to say anything about it, but that's probably the best open world. Anything about the story, but that's probably the best open world game I've played, besides Legends of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, in years. So I really enjoyed it. I also played through Superhot VR. I had been waiting to get that one until I could get the VR version.
Could you explain what that is? Because it sounds very yeah, weird.
Well, it goes like this: super hot. Anyway, that's the marketing.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's like
No, it's like all slowed down. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It sounds like a Metalocalypse song.
It was just one of those marketing things that they did that actually like really helped the game, I think.
I'll have to look
when they first debuted. So Superhot is a sort of strategy first-person shooter game. The kick is, or the mechanic is, time around you does not move, like it does not progress unless you're moving. So it's a function of your movement speed, and then things around you happen faster the faster you move. So everything is very like low poly. Like white and orange and black, and that's like it is the only colors. But the enemies are orange, like crystal men. They're like mannequins made of crystal, and they're trying to kill you. They punch you, knife you. Like there's a bunch of different weapons. And you start. It's like levels, so you like start out in the starting point, and then there's a bunch of guys trying to kill you, and you move to like pick up weapons and pick up guns, and shoot them. Or kill them, and before they kill you, and it's like really intriguing, really like a really good game mechanic. I think it's like a one-trick pony, but
it's a very good trick.
Yes, it's a very good trick.
Okay.
And it took me like almost 2 hours to beat, so really short. But I think I would totally buy another one. I got it at a sale, so I think it was like $20, but. In VR, it was so much fun. Like, grabbing the guns, you actually like squeeze the controller, and then you use the trigger to shoot, and that was all you needed. So, it didn't actually make me feel like a kung fu master or anything to like dodge the guy's arms, but like it's a strategy game, right? It's a puzzle game. So like if you fail and die, you got to start the whole level over again. And so it was still satisfying when you failed because you're going through the motions and you get better and better at each level. So it's like in VR, like the level is maybe, let's say it's like 10 different scenes or something like that. Like 10 starting points is the reset point. So like if you die, you go back like 10 spots. So like every time you spawn in, okay, I know the cup is there. I throw the cup at the guy's face, and I catch his knife that when he dies, the knife kind of drifts towards you. You catch the knife, throw it at that guy, pick up his gun, and like shoot the two things on the balcony. And it's like, okay. And when you die, you have to do that over again, so you get better and better at it. So like by the time you get to the end of the sequence, you're like so good at it. They're just like whap, whap, bam, bam, pow, pow, done. And then it just feels
really
so
blows
satisfying.
my mind that you're not a Dark Souls fan. Like that you did not like just get heavily into Dark Souls. That blows
Really?
my mind. Yeah, because you all like every time you're like, oh man, I'm playing Cuphead or I'm playing, this game where like it's like repetition. Like all these games you play are like seem like a lot of repetition, and so it blows my mind that you didn't just like get the first Dark Souls game and play like a zillion hours of all of them.
See, that's funny that you say that because I hate repetition in games. I see it as a form of failure. Like if I don't do it right the first couple times, unless there's a game mechanic that keeps me engaged,
I was
it's
gonna say,
a
can we play
negative
back
experience.
the last 30 seconds or so? Because I feel like
No, well,
Yeah,
yeah, I
a
was
little bit.
frustrated because I streamed it, and it was funny because I actually my mic wasn't turned on the whole time, and I never checked it, so I wasn't actually talking. But you could see in my emotions that I was like frustrated. I was like, "This is stupid. This is BS," and I'm like throwing the things, and I'm like angrily doing the motions. But at the same time, like I was still having fun. But no, like
Wait,
actually,
you said you streamed it?
yeah,
I'll have to go back and watch that.
yeah, I've got it.
That's gonna be funny. It's on your archives on Twitch.
Yep, and I can throw that. I've got the
I just
footage
want to see
saved.
your screen jerking around everywhere.
Repetition in games sucks for me. Like if it's I don't know. I should have to think about that for a while. But the gist of my feelings on it is that if there's no purpose or there's no like the game mechanic isn't fun, then repetition is absolutely punishing. Like, if you ever played an RPG and like everything is easy in the game, or like there's like this insane difficulty curve when you get to a certain boss, and it's like, what the flip? And then it's an old RPG, so like the cutscene plays every single time and you can't skip it. It's like that kind of thing. Like the closer you get to that situation is like foam. Like I foam at the mouth at that. It's so bull BS. I hate it. But yeah, those are the games that I've played so far.
Okay.
Last couple days or weeks.
Right. So for me, I've played a little bit of Destiny. I try and get some of my milestones completed every week. This week, or actually last week, for the podcast, I had to play some Destiny, so I'd have something to put for the YouTube video, And man, it had been a long time since I'd played PvP. Like I was awful. Like I just got crushed in match after match of PvP, and I was finally just like, okay, screw this. Like we're done here. I'm not doing any more PvP because I'm so rusty. I mean, I'm never good at PvP, but this past week it was terrible. And then it was also like the flashpoint was Mercury, and that's terrible. I hate when it's on Mercury, but because I actually do really like the flashpoints. I really do like the public events, but I just hate when they're on Mercury. But other than that, so one of my friends, he was actually one of my old roommates, lives in Alabama, and we have been playing a lot of Factorio together. Are either of y'all familiar with Factorio?
No.
Right.
Never actually played it.
So I guess the easiest way to describe it is you're trying to build a giant Rube Goldberg machine. Like you're trying to gather resources to build certain things, but like it's this very convoluted path. It's like, oh, I need to mine coal with this thing in order to build this thing that makes me build this thing, and I need a train to transport all this stuff around. And your whole object is you're stranded on a planet and you're trying to build a rocket ship to get off of it. And you basically start out with like a pickaxe. And so I guess like in a way it's kind of Minecrafty. You dig stuff up out of the ground to make other stuff. But it is like he loves it. He absolutely loves it. I like it. But it gets really frustrating for me because I forget how stuff goes together. Like I'll be like, man, I can't, how the hell do I get the steam engine to work? I can't, like, I'm like, how many boilers is it? What's the optimal ratio and different stuff like that. And so I forget stuff like that. So it's really frustrating for me. But the game itself is actually really fun. It's pretty cheap on Steam, if I remember. And so, yeah, if anybody has Factorio, I'm always down to build a planet and try and get off of it with a rocket ship. But yeah, that's pretty much all. I've played some Destiny, I've played Factorio, and that's basically it.
Nice. Well, for me, Destiny still really isn't on my radar right now. Like I turned it on, the last Iron Banner. I played one day and then I never touched it again. I did the same thing for the faction rally. I turned it on, I did the update, and I pledged to New Monarchy, and I never played it. Of course I did, because they're great.
Well, at least you didn't earn
Crusaders.
any packages for them, so you didn't contribute to their win. At least.
No, I did. Oh, I did.
What? Of
I
course
did.
you did. Why wouldn't you? Why?
Of course I
wouldn't you?
did. Well, exactly. Why wouldn't I? It's great. I love it.
Because I thought you weren't a bad person, all right? I thought you saw the light of Future War Cult and understood the importance they play in the tower. But
All I see
apparently I
are
was
those
wrong.
clown shaders, man. That's all I see.
Fair enough.
Sorry. Yeah, but other than that, so last week, I finally got a Nintendo Switch, and I have been playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it's fucking amazing. It's so good.
It's lived
Like, I'm
up to
not
the
even
hype.
that far. Yeah. I mean, I'm not even that far into it.
Where you at?
Like, I'm on my way to the first. I'm on the way to the Zoran area. For the whole Divine Beast quest.
Okay.
What's the first one? That's how far I've gotten so far.
Okay. I like that
really
area.
taking my time. Yeah, I'm really taking my time with it. What I was doing is, I'd get to an area, I'd find all the shrines and then the Koriks, and then I'd finish out the area. But it got so frustrating because I was having some problems finding some of the shrines. I was like, fuck it, I just want to do the story.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back in and I'll finish everything else. Because once I did a little research, and once I found out how much extra stuff is there, like how many shrines and Koriks and memories and all that stuff like that, I was like, I just want to finish the story first. And then I'll go back, because that's a lot of shit.
I did a lot of that.
I'm really enjoying it. Like, the last Zelda game that I had ever played was Majora's Mask. I never played any of like the 3DS, or I missed Twilight Princess altogether. That was for the Wii, I believe. And hopefully they can bring that over to the Switch, like as a port, because I'd really like to play that. But yeah, I'm having a great time with it. So
how into the
video-
overarching Zelda lore are you? Like, how versed are you in that?
I'm not very versed, but the story it's pretty good. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but
Oh yeah,
I know the
'cause-
game's been out for like a year, but
right. No, because honestly, Zelda is one of the series that I absolutely love, and like the fact that all the games have, which a lot of people don't realize, is all the games have a coherent storyline. Now, granted, at Ocarina of Time, it splits into two timelines because you have Adult Link and you have Kid Link, and it splits into two timelines, and that's where you've got like Skyward Sword and Wind Waker and all that sort of stuff. But like if you really dive into it, the Zelda lore is actually really, really cool. And so that's one of the things I am really tempted to read everything about Breath of the Wild, because like I'll never have a Switch, but at the same time, like, oh, on the off chance I get a Switch, maybe I should not read anything about Breath of the Wild. So I'm really torn about that sort of stuff.
yeah, I was really surprised at how deep into the story that they go, especially so early on in a game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but it's got a lot of stuff to do with like Ganon and like Zelda, and just I don't know. It's just really good, and that's why I'm just like, fuck it. I just want to do the story, because I just noticed that every time I get to the story parts of the game, I'm just like, okay, like I'm really into it, But yeah. Hopefully you'll be able to get a Switch and you'll be able to play it. I think it's on a Wii U as well.
Yeah, it is.
So
Which I also don't have, but
you might be able to get one cheap, because I mean, who has a Wii U?
Yeah.
that's fair. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, it's worth it. It doesn't
Yeah,
really.
it's-
There's not much difference between the Wii U and the Switch. I actually played. I forgot about this, but I totally pulled a Destiny 1 with it. I bought it on Wii U because I didn't want to wait for a Switch, because I wasn't going to buy one anytime soon.
Right.
And then when I finally got a Switch, finally meaning like 6 months later, I played it for Switch again. And so I actually did a lot in both files. I love that game too.
Yeah, it's really worth it. So
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna Google how much a Wii U is right now.
Do it. I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, those are new. I'll have to Craigslist one or
hey,
something.
since you guys are on the computer, so one of my coworkers showed me something pretty funny today. If you go to Google and you type in "my spirit animal is" and tell me your first search result.
So my spirit animal is.
Yeah, just type it in, and it'll have a bunch of different results at the bottom. Tell me your first one that you got.
Oh, well, if I could spell spirit, that would probably work a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a result, so I'm going to go to google.com proper.
That's probably a good idea.
This has turned into an interesting podcast. We've got some interactive. So for those of you following along, if you're on a computer,
type in.
So when I did it earlier, it says my spirit animal was a sloth.
Oh, really?
And if you don't know me in person, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I totally get that because I like to stay pretty chill and I move pretty slow.
Really long and just really well constructed fingernails. The fingernails for eating the leaves off of the trees.
Grabbing the trees. Yeah, man, absolutely.
The long furry neck.
Because I don't know if you guys know this, I'm actually in my tree right now as we're having this podcast.
Yeah, you're recording the podcast on an apple.
Yeah. Now it's going to take me 5 minutes to go grab this apple off of this branch, but
hey, I actually watched I think it was Planet Earth or some other documentary about sloths. It was Planet Earth 2. And sloths actually move pretty fast.
When they want to.
Really?
Yeah.
When they want to, yeah.
My spirit animal is a wolf.
Wolf's cool. I could see that.
Closely followed by a sloth, and then followed by a unicorn.
What about you, No Face?
Bear.
Ah.
Really? Yeah, which I don't... After that is an owl, which I feel like is a lot more appropriate, because, especially right now, it's nighttime and I'm wearing glasses. I feel that's very owlish. But, a bear? That's ridiculous.
I don't know.
If you ever see me in person, I am not a big person. Bears are
yeah, I know.
Hey, spirit animal. Your spirit is as big as a bear.
How does it fit in my body then? Do I just have a really dense spirit? My body to spirit ratio is very high.
Maybe it just condenses into. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say that.
Your body is the shell that harnesses the spirit. Yeah. And when it's set free, it goes into its final form.
No Face.
So per unit volume, how much spirit do I have?
Well, you'll have to condense it down to ectoplasm and then weigh that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to do some math real quick.
Anyways.
So now that we've diverged completely from everything we're going to talk about,
but before you get us back on track, Wii U's are $170.
Oh, okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, still.
Really? I got distracted by the spirit animal. I'm not good at multitasking, apparently.
Neither am I.
Anyway, so right. like we were saying, getting back on track. So one of the things we were going to talk about, I touched on this last week, but there's actually been some new developments on it, and there's probably going to be a fair amount of developments in this sort of stuff over the next month or two as well, is the whole loot box controversy. So what's going on right now, like I talked about last week, Chris Lee, Hawaii legislator, is talking to the ESA, talking to representatives of the ESRB and everything like that, trying to figure out some way to regulate loot boxes. Obviously, the kind of no-brainer thing is that maybe the industry should self-regulate, should use the ESRB kind of method and label loot boxes and everything. And that makes a lot of sense, right? That's a thing that we should do. Well, apparently that doesn't make a ton of sense if you work for the ESA or the ESRB, because they've decided that they are going to label games that have loot boxes. But they're going to dump them under the same label as games that have purchasable DLC, purchasable any sort of content. So even non-loot box content, where like Warframe, where you can directly buy things. They're basically making this umbrella kind of thing where it just says games with in-game purchases. Which, okay, I'm not going to give my opinion yet, because let me get in my ranting position before I do that. It's kind of ridiculous in my opinion, but before I go off too much, let me just read really quickly. There was a statement put out by the ESRB president, Patricia Vance, where she's addressing the fact that they're not singling out loot boxes, they're just labeling all in-game purchases, and this is what she says. I'm sure you're all asking why we aren't doing something more specific to loot boxes. We've done a lot of research over the past several weeks and months, particularly among parents. What we've learned is that a large majority of parents don't know what a loot box is. Even those who claim that they do don't really understand what a loot box is. So it's very important for us to not harp on loot boxes per se, to make sure that we're capturing loot boxes, but also other in-game transactions. So what she's saying is, again, we're concerned about we're saying we're concerned about the money that's being spent, not how it's being spent. So what's y'all's guys' take on that?
So, I don't like that. So, I don't like that. No.
All right, case closed. Everyone, audio doesn't like it. We're moving on.
Fuck that noise. Yeah, see that's the thing. Like the loot box is the problem, not everything else. Everything else, you know what you get. But if you buy a loot box, you don't know what you're getting, but you know you're getting something. And I feel like that's the part where they get you. And they're just kind of like, you know what, fuck it. We're just going to put everything under this umbrella and just call it that, you know? They're avoiding the real problem.
I'll agree with that.
I mean, but that's just just based on what I just learned about it. Because I was listening to you read it, and I was just like, okay, that's my first thought. That's my first opinion on it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like it though.
So I don't know. I understand the controversy and understand why it's a controversy. On the one hand, loot boxes have gotten so egregious, so pervasive in the industry. I agree with a lot of what a lot of YouTubers and public voices have said. Like, Jim Sterling is super, super against them, and I really appreciate his voice. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he says, but I think loot boxes can be trivialized by like the ESRB and the ESA, and they can be trivialized by the companies using them too. But the thing is, they're really predatory practices. Like, I was thinking about this the other day, and it's like, I don't know if you guys used to have those little vending machines, like you put the quarter in, you turn the corner, the tumbler with the quarter in it, and it outputs like a little egg plastic shell, and you like pop that cap off the egg, and it's got like a little prize in it. And
like a giant gumball machine kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a gumball machine, and like the prizes are like rings and like little,
I know what you're talking about.
Like plastic
sticky hands.
Yeah, sticky hands, plastic.
Oh, man, that's nostalgia.
Plastic alligators and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if you guys ever had the bowling alley I went to as a kid had those, and it was like so cool, and I wanted them. It's like, oh, I want the sticky hand, but like you put a quarter in and you don't get it, and then you put a quarter in, you don't get it, and then you're out of quarters because you're like 5 and you only have 50 cents.
You don't have a job yet.
Yeah, and people might be able to point to that example and be like, if loot boxes are like that, it's okay, but it's not like that. It in mechanics it is, but with loot boxes, what they put in the loot pool are things with actual social value, like the things. Like, at least for Destiny, for instance, like they tried to put a bunch of really cool armor in loot boxes, essentially, in the engrams. And it's like, those things are the reason we play Destiny, if not for just like the gameplay. It's not the sole reason. That's a bad argument, but it's like one of
a looter shooter.
Yeah. It's better if you have multiple carrots to run, to go for, to chase after when you're playing, to keep you going, to keep you, engaged socially in the game. armor has social value, and that is much like more engaging, I would say, than like that vending machine example.
Right.
But then, like, I don't know where I was going with that, but predatory practice, like, it's not. I guess my point is, like, it's crappy because you don't know what you're getting. And
Yeah.
I have no confidence that the good stuff, the quote unquote good stuff, the sticky hands in loot boxes, are like insanely low rates, like insanely low drop rates. We don't know what the drop rates are. There is no transparency.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is no accountability on the honesty and ethics of these companies. And it's gotten to the point where, I don't like it's come up like there's that one guy who spent $15,000 on Mass Effect Andromeda or something like that, like something
The
crazy.
whales, yeah.
These people, the whales. The whales have. I'm not going to call them whales. These people have problems. They have real problems, and these companies are taking advantage of that. That is unethical.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like
agree.
legislation goes, I don't know that I'm okay with just allowing the government to regulate another thing, right? I'm not an
But
overly
they've done
conservative.
so well with everything else.
I'm not an overly conservative
Yeah.
person. I'm non-partisan, and I'm not going to get political and talk about anything. But I just don't trust that it's the best method. But clearly, self-regulation hasn't gotten us anywhere, right? Because it's
Right.
in such abuse, and it's not like public outcry is going to do a thing. Like right now, like EA is talking about putting loot boxes back into Battlefield, and they're going to use the same crappy practices, maybe less intense, but
It's still gonna
it's
be there.
like, think about 10 years ago, none of this stuff was a problem. 10 years ago, we're getting mad about horse armor. Like, I don't
About what?
horse armor. I'm talking about Oblivion. It was the first
right.
it was actually like 2006,
yeah.
2005. And it was the first example of non-value DLC.
Like cosmetic kind of stuff.
Yeah, so Oblivion had DLC. They had a couple like big expansion packs, like the Knights of the Nine and the Shivering Isles. It was really great. I love that game. But they also had like $2-3 one-offs in the Xbox Live Marketplace for horse armor. It was like $3 for horse armor. It was a joke. Like everyone in the industry, in the games journalism or whatever, all the websites were talking about it. It was like, this is stupid, and people were just like shredding Bethesda in the comments and forums. Like it was a huge deal. I mean,
But now it's the standard. Like that's
now that's laughable. We want that back. We're like
the direct purchasing. Yeah,
that's the standard business model basically for any game.
Oh yay, Titanfall 2. We should buy your stuff. We applaud you for having cosmetic, non-impactful, cosmetic. I said cosmetic already. Direct purchases. It's like
right.
That's going to happen with loot boxes, where if we don't do something about this, it's going to get worse, and it's insidious. So I don't know. I don't have really a solution. After all this grandstanding, I would say my favorite suggestion so far, which I like what Chris Lee is doing. I like that he's bringing awareness and actually addressing it, provided that he actually is caring about the so-called whales and he's caring about children having addictive practices. Like, as long as it's actually altruistic, I agree with him. But I like the idea of requiring game companies with random drops to publish their drop rates and the loot pool. That's like
right, and
that's a sweet spot for me, because then there might still be people that just dump a bunch of money into it, but personally, I know that I restrict myself when I buy loot boxes. Like, I don't go above a certain amount. But I remember Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I spent probably $60 on microtransactions, just because I wanted the best weapons, and I kept on pumping money in, over the course of a month or two. But so I've been known to take to that, but I would have loved to know. Like, I would probably be demotivated if I knew that I can't remember any of the names of the guns in Mass Effect. But anyway, if I knew what the drop rates were for the gun I wanted, or the Zenyatta skin in Overwatch, which I actually pumped $20 into that, hoping to get that from the last Halloween event in Overwatch, and I didn't get it. And that's like,
well, and that's exactly why they don't publish those things. Because if you knew you had like a 1 in 10,000 chance of getting something, like, you're not going to buy 10,000 loot boxes. You're just going to be like, no, that, like, I'm not buying that. And so, yeah, that's why they don't publish those sort of things. And it's
right. And that's like, where the predatory practice comes in.
Exactly.
Like, if I, as a person, as a reasonable, logical, financially solvent person, would make the choice not to buy something because of a crappy drop rate, and I've known that because of transparency, like, that empowers the customer, and it empowers the citizen, and it would allow us to have a little bit more sanity in this situation. So that's all I want. I just want that. And I would rather not regulate, like, whether or not loot boxes are gambling. Like, that's kind of always been a shaky argument to me, because you really can't cash out. It just makes it more stupid. It makes me feel more stupid.
What if you take into consideration things like, I know you can't get them to loot boxes, but like things in Steam where you can like cash them out for real world currency?
Well, that's up to the company then. I mean,
so, but I mean, like,
that would be
at
actually
that point,
gambling.
You're definitely in gambling.
Yeah.
And so, and that's part of what I'm really upset about the ESRB, like, labeling of in-game purchases, because there's not a game like, okay, there's very, very few games out there that don't have in-game purchases, that don't have a DLC. Like, if you want to go so far as like Destiny 1, you could buy Destiny 2, quote unquote, in-game. Like, when they were first promoting it, you could go over there and like watch the Destiny 2 trailer and then click on a button that said, like, pre-order now. That would be classified as an in-game purchase, which is incredibly different from a loot box. And yet they're still, like, the ESRB wants us to throw them in the same thing because, like, oh, well, people don't understand loot boxes. Well, how about we label things as, like, I don't know, gambling mechanics? Like, that sounds like a reasonable term that maybe, like, parents would understand and everything like that.
Yeah.
So,
if you don't mind, I'm going to actually piggyback off of that.
Go for it.
I'm going to take this from a parental point of view. As a parent, like, say, for an example, like, say if I don't know what the fuck loot boxes are, right? I don't know what any of this stuff is. Now, if my child wants, example, like, say if she wants Battlefield 2, or what is it called? Battlefront 2. And we go to the store, right? These people, they're talking about, like, oh, these parents, well, they don't know what it is, this, that, and the other. Well, instead of just like being like, oh, well, they don't know it, fuck it, we're not going to mess with it, we're just going to put it in this one big pool, even though they are two separate, two completely different things. Mm-hmm. Why don't they try to just educate us, tell us the difference? What is a loot box? What is a X? You know what I'm saying? Like actually tell the difference. And I see this link that you put on here. And I was looking over it, and
what's the link?
It doesn't really. It's the one that's in the notes.
So what he's talking about, the ESRB, in kind of response to this, like in a terrible response, they've started a website, or they've put a thing on their website called Parental Tools, and so it's literally at esrb.org/parental tools. And what it is it's kind of a guide to what loot boxes are, and then it tells you to pick your gaming platform, and it can tell you how, as a parent, to deal with, like, how to restrict so that your kids can't buy things online. So, like, they have to enter the code and stuff like that. Like, how every time you make a purchase on, like, Xbox Live or whatever, you have to put in, like, your 6-digit code or whatever. It basically walks them through that process so that kids aren't going to be spending thousands of dollars of their parents' money and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically what I was getting at is kind of like just trying to give, like, an idea or a way that we could, like, kind of, like, prevent something like this from happening, say, like, use this as an example, we have ESRB ratings now, mature and what have you. And to buy something that's mature, you have to be over the age of 17. Well, what if, like, for an example, you go to the register and, you purchase the game. If it's mature, they ask to see your ID, and you can, at the register, there could be a prompt for the cashier to be like, hey, to let you know there are, microtransactions in this. Like, just make even if the parent is buying a game for their kid, just make them aware of what is in the game. So that way, they could take the protocol necessary to make sure that something like that, spending $1,000 on a credit card doesn't happen.
Well, and so that goes back to like the ESRB lumping them all in the same category and how that's impossible to do that, because now you're leaving it up to like GameStop or whoever to classify these like, oh, is this a in-game DLC purchase like of, like Curse of Osiris type thing, or is this an in-game loot box type situation? And so unless the manufacturers start literally labeling, those specific things, it's really hard to do that. And then the other thing, which the reason I believe this is a complete and total non-answer to these issues, is that there are adults out there with gambling problems. Like Kraken was talking about, like the guy who spends like $15,000 in Mass Effect or whatever. Like, he knows his 6-digit code, all right? Like, he's spending his own money. It's not like he's, using his parents' Xbox or whatever to do this sort of stuff. So if you buy a game and think it's like, okay, I know I have a gambling problem, there's nothing on here that says there's microtransactions, loot boxes, everything like that, I should be fine. But then you get home and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this has got gambling mechanics in it. Like, and now you've bought a game that has gambling mechanics. And it's, I don't know, like the SRB is basically run by the publishers, by the devs, and it's not, or not, I don't want to say devs, by the publishers is better to say. And so when you have that, when you have a regulatory body that is being basically run by the company it's supposed to be regulating, you're probably not going to get the best solutions. So this is where I differ from Krakenfall a little. I think the public outcry has been great. I think it has changed things, but I really don't think we can count on the ESRB to do anything. I don't think we can count on the individual publishers to really do the right thing. Outside of like legislation, I'm really not sure how we affect actual change.
We'll see. They've been fighting this battle for a while now. Hopefully, everything will turn in our favor, and Anyways, so is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Sorry, I have terrible with transitions.
No, it's fine. I'm sitting here trying to catch my breath because I'm just like, I'm mad at the video game industry right now.
No, yeah.
And so like,
I don't think we're actually disagreeing on anything. I just don't think that we should necessarily put an age cap or an age limit on it. Or like an adult only rating or something like that. Maybe
yeah, right. I mean not even a restriction, just hey, let them know this is in the game. Like, this is a thing that could actually happen. So
because knowing is half the battle or whatever. So
exactly.
If you let people know what's in your game honestly, like not this just in-game purchases that is a umbrella term, right? It's okay. Let's move on. I am getting a little worked up here.
Yeah. So, have any of you guys read the weekly update this week?
I have not.
I kind of browsed over it through before the podcast, but so basically, I'll just hit the bullet point it real quick. Next week is Iron Banner. It's going to be Clash from through the week. It's going to be Tuesday through Tuesday. Yeah. Looks like that's what it says.
So it's a week long. Yep.
Yep. Tuesday to Tuesday. That sounds about right. Looks like we got a pulse rifle, grenade launcher, and an auto rifle. That's gonna be about it for that. And then they talk about like some future plans for the Crucible as well. Looks like we might be getting Rumble back. They're going to be raising the 4v4 to 6v6. I believe 6v6 is going to be for Rumble as well. And they're also doing some changes to the Iron Banner as well. The match time limit's 12 minutes. The score goes up to 125. Changing the respawn time. Oh, and all control zones start off neutral. So like old school control. So we have to...
That's funny.
And
That's a rollback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a rollback. Yeah.
But this is where I'll say, like, I know we were just talking about loot boxes, but like that public outcry is affecting change. Like, you know,
Obviously.
the gutting of Eververse and Destiny 2, the return of 6v6, return of Rumble, return of like Nightfall scoring, all that sort of stuff. Like that's basically because of fans speaking up. So this is where I'm going to be hopeful and say, like, as long as we as a community keep speaking up about the things we care about, we can affect change. That's all the positivity I had.
There's good criticism. There's good criticism, and then there's bad criticism as well. So how you go about saying that really will affect. Just don't be like, oh, well, this sucks, don't do it again. And they're going to be like, oh, okay.
So
they want to know, like, anyways.
Sorry.
I'm ranting.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's just like if you give criticism about a game, like, don't just be like, oh, well, this needs to happen, or, you know, I quit playing. Just give like good constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a dick about it. You know.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Kirk?
And I think that goes for every game, like, well, everything really. Like, if I'm doing something and like I suck at it or anything like that, and someone says like, man, you suck at this. Okay, like, thank you for your opinion. Why do I suck at it? Like, how can I be better? Those are the things that matter. Like, not like the identification of the problem is great. Like, good job at it. But if you don't tell me like specifically what's going on, just like a general thing about this is not fun. Well, what would make it fun? Why is it not fun? Those are the sort of things that is actual feedback. If it's not, it's just yelling at a wall. Like, you're not affecting anything. You're just yelling.
So I look at it a little differently. I don't really look at it like, you know, playing a game badly. I look at it like, let's say you've got a strip, like a street, a main street that's got bar town. So you got a bunch of bars, and you've got your favorite bar, and it's like the most poppin' bar in the main street. And
Poppin', huh?
Did you say poppin'? Did you say poppin'?
Yeah.
He said poppin'.
Yeah. We're gonna have to edit that out.
Why?
No, we're not gonna edit it out. But, you know, I want to.
Wait, what's wrong with poppin'?
I'm gonna.
Actually, I'm curious
clip
about this as well.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
you guys cut out, so I'm just going to keep going. So you've got this really popular bar, and then they come under new management, or maybe the vice president of the bar, or whatever, assistant
This is
manager
a classy
eats.
bar.
No, the assistant manager eats the main manager and starts doing his own thing, and then suddenly.
Wait, is he Kirby? What just happened?
No, I'm just saying he's like a cannibal or something. But anyway.
What kind of bars do
Okay,
you go to?
Sorry, that distracted.
Sorry. Yeah, continue. Just continue.
It distracted. So, okay, comes under new management,
He's getting.
and suddenly this favorite bar that you've got, and all your friends go there. It's like a weekly thing. Every Friday night, you guys are there having, you know, some fries and beer. It's great. All of a sudden, you get there and you've got like metal chairs instead of comfy chairs. You've got like weird dancers doing something, and like suddenly, like, just sitting there isn't even fun anymore. Like, it's just like being in the bar isn't fun, and so like you go to a different bar, and then like, but the whole time, like, you don't want to leave, and so you're like talking to the manager, and you're like, hey guys, this sucks, and like the manager's not listening to you. When enough of your friends and enough of the people tell the manager that it sucks, and they're like, they start seeing the sales go down, they start seeing less people showing up, and it's like, okay, we got to do something. And so they replace the bar chairs with the comfy chairs again, and they take away their weird dancers or whatever. It's like, it's too late. Your customer base has already moved to something else. Like, it might grow back with new player base, and maybe some of the hardcore, you know, customers come back, but you've shot yourself in the foot. and the people that used to enjoy your bar will always remember that it was a great bar, but you already
Good
done
modern
effed
tragedy.
up.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. Like, one, vote with your wallet, right? And two, like if you're that bar or that game developer or anything like that, and you break that trust and you like ruin something, you can recover from it, but it's gonna take time. Like even if you made all the changes you needed to, like what happened, like oh we suck at this, like 6 weeks later, boom, everything is perfect. It's still gonna take time to recover, and I completely agree with that, and that's totally legit. And there's no like it should work like that. Like publishers should not be rewarded for having bad games or things like that, or bartenders should not be rewarded for eating their managers or whatever is going on.
What kind of bars do you go to? Jesus. Is that how they are where you live? Just managers eat managers? And,
I'm telling you, like, like the assistant manager was Kirby. That's what it was.
I was making like two. Like I was using the metaphor too much because like I don't know what went on at Bungie, but like whoever took the user experience design and just like effed it up, like it feels like they've just destroyed. Like I don't know. It's not even the good people of that company can salvage it at this point. Like for me at least. Unless they completely go back to like Destiny 1 mechanics, like this is just BS. This is a stupid game, and I'm not going back.
It looks like. I mean, they're raising the Iron Banner team cap to 6, and I'm reading here. So it's going to take. So if you have 3 Guardians on a. What is this? Control on a point, it'll you can capture it faster. And Guardians participating in a capture get more super energy. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that a lot.
So that's just the chairs have been replaced with the nice comfy chairs, right? But everything else about the bar is still broken. Like for Destiny 2, like my biggest thing is like movement speed and like 1v1 abilities, and like the fact that it's team shots are so prevalent. Like it's a boring game right now. They did not change the fundamental parts of the game, and I know that they've got sandbox changes coming up, but it's just not fun.
And what you just said actually has something to do with what I'm about to say. Is they are bringing Rumble back, but it's not going to be 6 players. It's going to be 8 players.
Oh, that's weird.
On the map.
That's like big team battle in Halo Reach.
Yeah, but they're going to have
3.
to do those things that you just said. Like they're going to have to raise the kill time. They're going to have to raise the movement speed. As if not, these games they might last a long time.
Yeah. Anyway,
of course, yeah,
it's progress. It is positive progress.
Yes.
But I mean, just what's going on right now in Destiny? Like I haven't been playing it, but I've really been just like keeping my eye on it. You know, just checking in, see what's going on. There's Bungie is really trying to stick to their guns and make sure that they give us the things that we promise. It may not be when we want them, but they're coming. You know, but my thing is, what I've realized is these little updates that they're doing here and there, you know, like with these little updates and things like that, even the sandbox change, I have a feeling that a lot of these things, they're really not what's going to bring me back as a player. It's going to take something like either a new expansion with a bunch of changes or like a Taken King type-esque, you know, update as well, or expansion to really bring me back. Because right now, Destiny is just, it's not dead, but it is just not doing it for me right now. And I hate saying that because I was really hyped before this game came out. And now it's just like, I feel lost, you know? It's just like Destiny was the game that I played all the time. Now it's just like, I guess I could try something else.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to break your heart by opening that bottle again. Broke your heart
you're
again.
good,
Yeah,
man.
okay. Let's talk about Saint 14.
Yeah. All right. So this always makes me happy. So over the past couple of weeks, I don't know, over the past month, if you've been listening to our recent episodes, you know, we've been touching different topics about mental health awareness and then this involves the Safe 14 project, which we had Sentinel Dad on a couple weeks ago. So after the podcast, you know, we've been keeping in touch, and so they're going to be doing another charity stream as well, but it's not going to be for what was the name of that charity? I forgot. The TakeThis.org. So this one is going to be in May, and don't hold this to me, but I think they said it was going to be May the 10th is the date that they said. But this charity is going to be the 19th. Okay, so it's going to be for a charity called StackUp.org, and this is a charity. I believe it has to do with veterans of the military, and just giving back to them.
Veteran services and mental health services for veterans. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have too much information on this, but I know this is about like suicide. This one is going to be about like things that our troops suffer with, after serving our country and things like that, because a lot of them have like PTSD. There's a lot of suicide, and it's basically it's just a suicide prevention type thing.
It's raising support for veterans that need help with mental health.
Yeah. So just that's all that we really know for right now. When we have more updates, we'll definitely let you guys know. And we are actually going to be a part of this charity stream as well. We're going to have a block. We're not sure on the time, but like I said, when we find out something, we'll definitely keep you guys posted. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I've never done anything like that before, like a charity stream. So it'll be fun. Looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys can do it as well. I know you want to do it, No Face, but I don't know about you, Kraken. You haven't really said anything
I
yet,
think it would be really freaking awesome, and I definitely would come back and play some Destiny for that.
Yeah. So that'll make you come back and play Destiny?
Yep.
Great.
It's the community, man. That's what we're about here.
Yeah, that's right, man. So if we do, like, what console or what platform? Because I was thinking I would like to do it on PC, but I mean maybe we could do it on Xbox.
I think we should,
since we all have Xbox.
Yeah, we should probably do it on Xbox, because then we can get some of the tacos in. Because if we have an entire block by ourselves, honestly, let's just make it an open door policy and get like Moss in here and VT and.
I'm just gonna throw it out there that like we occasionally have to censor ourselves, and we're some of the more tame people in the clan. So I'm gonna throw that out there for consideration. But yeah, for those of you who want in on this, think this might be a cool idea, definitely drop us a line in the group me or Discord or something like that, and let us know.
So segue into the next part. I guess we're gonna wrap this up. Is that cool with you guys? You got anything else you want to add before we wrap?
No, it's been a fun hour.
Yeah, pretty good. So if you want to get a hold of us, there's two ways. You can email us at DeltaCoFireteamChat@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at DFCPod, and we're also on YouTube as well. So if you just go to YouTube, type in DeltaCo Fireteam Chat, it's usually the first thing that pops up. So, all right. So this has been the 17th episode of DFC Podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening. I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.